Sometimes we can't get a perfect recovery on FirstChip controllers. They employ a lot of different technology which improves the reliability of refurbished memory. Such examples would be bad bit columns and bad byte columns, as you can see over here with these FF and 00 patterns over here. Basically, there's a bad column in the page buffer. So to get around it, it just shifts everything over. It also can use techniques like reading every other page or every 4 pages to extend the life of QLC memory. Another interesting thing is the encryption on them, which can be difficult to break. Almost every FirstChip drive uses a different encryption key. So in this case, we're not able to do a full recovery, but we'll still be able to get some data. We'll see that there are 2 blocks and 2 empty blocks, 2 blocks of data, 2 empty blocks. So what's happening is this is QLC memory, and to extend the life of the memory chip, it's only writing to half the data. It's essentially over provisioning the drive by 2. We have to set the chunk size to twice the block size and output 2 blocks. So now what you'll see, if we go here, it's going to be all empty data because this is over provisioned. And if we go here, it's going to be all user data. So the next step is to figure out the page geometry. To do that, we can search for a separator. In this case, if we keep scrolling, the separator is going to be after the spare area and error correcting code. So if we scroll down a little while, we're going to see the separator right here. So we can assume that the data area is going to be 400 in hexadecimal. If we look at the relative offset here, we'll see it's at 482 bytes in hexadecimal. If we subtract 400 bytes from that, it gives us 82 bytes. What's kind of interesting about this case is that the spare area is repeated halfway through the page. So if you look over here, it's 11694087, and up here it's the same value. So if we paste to end, it ends at the boundary over here where there is no information, which is good. Now that we know the page geometry, we can go into Flash Extractor and fix the error correcting code because it doesn't seem to work properly in VNR. So if we type in 7e plus 4 plus 400, which would be the spare area, ECC size, and data area, it gives us 482. In decimal, that's 1154. So if we search for a layout that has 1154 bytes in it by 1150, it gives us these layouts over here. For FirstChip, none of these 3 XOR keys fit this dump, so we're just going to use the generic one over here and go to the little lightning bolt, fix error correcting code, and fix error correcting code on all dumps. Once that's done, we have to solve the XOR key with the FC XOR artificial intelligence powered element. Since we have the page geometry specified over here, it gets imported into the XOR structure. If it is not imported over here, it's not going to work. So first we let the key synthesize. It takes about 2 hours. In this case, what I did is I loaded an empty file, which should be 1 block, and then I copy and pasted the XOR key over to here, unchecked, skipped empty areas, and checked inversion. So now I can see what the XOR key looks like. If I go to XOR Analyzer, signature, The first 3 bytes on the majority of pages are 9B C7D4. And if you compare that against the XOR key that was detected, you get the same value. So my guess is that the FirstChip XOR element is just taking all these values and then averaging out the bit value to get the XOR key. So the next step could be to just look at the outputted data and then run it through your raw recovery utility such as RStudio or UFS. If you use the data element, you can output either the block page data area. You would want to output the data area and then save all and save the output. In this case, each block is 42 megabytes. Since we're doing a raw recovery, any data that crosses over that 42 megabyte boundary would be corrupt. Luckily, a lot of the files that were needed were documents and Excel files, so we were still able to recover some data.